basically during the whole time you were like scheduling everything and like making sure that I was keeping up with the deadlines. And I think that if you didn't do that, I would probably like miss out on some of the universities because of time.
So would you say that for somebody who would like to study maybe business, economics, finance, a place like the US is probably the best place to study, the best city or country to study?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on like what their personal preferences as well as like their personal kinks. Like, for example, if they're going to study international politics, if they're going to study like business management, then like there's a lot of different places they could go that could be like less expensive, because in the US, especially private institutions, they're super expensive, right? So I wouldn't recommend to go if like let's say their budget is like less than that. So like Spain is a good choice. But yeah, I would say that if you are studying business, finance, economics, then US is definitely like a very secure choice.
So you were thinking on applying, and at what moment you contact us and we start working, and how was that process? I mean, how did you find out about us?
Actually, I think it was recommended to me. Well, no. So first, my mom, she has a friend, and that friend, I think had a daughter that was also part of Master College's team.
Right.
And she got into, I think, was it Harvard?
Stanford, I think.
She got into Stanford, exactly.
Right.
And so the friend of my mom told my mom about you guys. And my mom's like, well, let's give it a try, because it sounds like, you guys know what you're doing, Ms. Oscar, and you do, right? And so then my mom enrolled me into the program, and then I met you, Ms. Oscar, and after like this whole process, and then I'm part of.
Okay, so just talking overall about all the process, what would you say was the most difficult part of the whole thing? It would either the SAT or maybe the TOEFL or maybe the essays. For you, what was the most difficult part?
For me, well, there were some parts that were super difficult, but the one that's like most difficult for me was probably the writing process. And by that I mean like later on when I'm like writing all these different like essays and resumes to the colleges, that was the hard part.
Okay.
The SAT part was like, it was kind of hard, but because you already get trained, like there's like 3 people helping you out, it's not that difficult for me.
Okay. So when you were done with the SAT, then you will consider that the all the essays and all the process of writing your story was the most difficult part. Why? Why was the most difficult part for you?
Okay, so here's what I think, right? So during that part where I have to write a bunch of essays to the universities, what happened is first, it was not like you guys were like writing it for me, right? So everything I have to do it by myself. However, you guys provided assistance in the form of like corrections and editing and like pointing out the parts that I could do better, which the universities would then like increase my chance of being viewed and accepted by them, right? So that part, when I'm doing everything by myself, it kind of like forces me to like really put effort into my writing, because before, I guess I wasn't really pushed. Like before, I didn't have a lot of motivation. I didn't know like what to write or like how to make it so that the universities would accept my resume, right? How to increase the chance of the essays getting accepted, right? But after being provided with clear instructions, right? After being told like, this part maybe change the wording a little, or in like one section, I remember, I think it was the University of Indiana, I think it was like, make this section more personalized, so it doesn't sound like you would write the same thing for every university, right? These kind of advice, they help me improve my essay, and I think it was these advice that make it so I understand like how valuable, it is.
Okay, during this process, do you think that before we started, maybe you learn more about yourself during this process and which were your strengths and your weaknesses?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the whole process was like, I realized that maybe a lot of like what I've been doing, so like how I'm writing things, like it could be improved, but also like how like dedicated I am to studying finance, right? Because after committing myself to applying for finance, I did so much stuff for all the universities, so it kind of like strengthened my resolve to continue down this path.
Okay. Do you think that I was a very demanding person in terms of, trying to do everything better and trying to come out with the best of you?
Yeah, a little bit, but it was for the better.
Right.
Because I remember, so I had a schedule set, and you basically kind of set the pace for how I was going to progress with the essays, with I think the 650 word Common App essay as well, and the resume. I think that was the three like big part, right? So individual resumes for the universities, Common App, and resume. So basically during the whole time you were like scheduling everything and like making sure that I was keeping up with the deadlines. And I think that if you didn't do that, I would probably like miss out on some of the universities because of time.